Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today's review is going to be all about that toolbox. So what I actually did last year was I bought that toolbox. I'll put down here how much I paid for that toolbox, and you know, I thought that was a pretty good investment, and it's a cantilevered toolbox. When I seen that, the lights went on. So okay, over on the other side there, I've got them little totes. I'll show you them, and they're great for like organizing all your small parts and everything. I'm considering this my idea of being the best or the ultimate electrical terminal wire kit, because when I'm actually deciding to do a project, I was in the past having all these small little containers all over the place to actually do a project, because you need all kinds of different wire connectors. So I put everything in one place. That's where it is right there. Let's go over to the bench. Let's take a look. Okay, so let's start off right here. This is the type of parts organizers that I had before in the past. I had 3 of these, and I dug them out just to show you that these 3 went into this. And this has got to be, well, as far as I'm concerned, a great toolbox that's matched exactly for my needs. And all I did is I went to my table saw and I ripped up a bunch of these. And this is just 1/8 wafer board. And I used my hot glue gun. That's it. So let's open this up. I'll show you what I got in there, and I'll explain some of the stuff that you might find interesting that maybe you could use as well, and the reasoning behind, well, why I switched from this to this, and it'll become quite obvious. Okay, so let's just open this up to the first part here, and you can see all my different connectors, and these are only the connectors that I actually use most times. And when you take a look at this eyelet connector, well, these are only good for, like, these are the crimp-on ones. They're only good for out of the weather use. I like to use these ones here with heat shrink, so you can crimp it and then use your heat gun and it'll seal it all up. They're terrific. Now, these little connectors here, this one here, a 4-wire, this is a 2-wire, and I've been experimenting with these, and I like these a lot. The only difference is when you connect your wires in here, man, it's kind of permanent. It's hard to get them out, and it's kind of permanent. But what I do like is I have a test port on each one, so you could actually do your own electrical testing, you know, with the terminals all in place. This style here, the lever wire connector, you just press the lever open, slide your connector in there, your wire, and this is good from about, I believe it's around 22 gauge to number 12 wire. Snap it back down and you're good. So I would use this in a particular situation where you've got, say, a black and a red, or a red and a white, or whatever your color code that you need. In most situations, say on 12 volt, it's going to be like a red for power and black for ground. And then you'd have 1 feed in, and you got 2 feeds out. So I mean, that's good. And this one's here, much the same, except it's one, you just pull this back. So this is like a splice, right? This is like a splice that you can attach 2 wires together. And this is for a 2-wire, a 3-wire, 4-wire, and up to here we get to a 5. And what I like about this type is you can also get the clips. Now these clips are pretty cool too, and you could see where this would clip in here and then grab underneath, and you just drive a screw in there. So I mean, that is the great part about that as well. And all these different connectors I use, and they're the only ones that I'll use, and you know, they all come in different sizes, you know. So I'll open it up to the next section, This is only the 2 parts, so there's 4 other parts. And you could see where all I've done was just put them pieces of wood in here. I got my hot glue gun and I glued it on all 3 sides on each piece all the way along. I made myself a little spacer block to go in here so I could actually glue them all in, you know, a bit at a time. And you know, it works fantastic. So let's move on to me opening it up fully now. But you can see where this opens like this, right? So I'll open it all the way here for you. I mean, I think this is just a fantastic set. So as you can see there, man, there's a lot of parts to this, isn't there? You know, so a lot of times wire connectors are going to be like this. You know, this is your standard, you know, twist wire connector. I still use them as well. And you know, this type of connector, you know, that will match with you know, there's a male and a female to these, you know, for crimping. And I got all the different ones here. Now when I'm joining any wires, I don't use any of the old style of I only use the ones that when you crimp them on, use your heat gun to seal it up, because I find these are the best and it holds the wire in there a lot better than the other ones. So now if we get down to, you can see all the brass here. Well, I've got, you know, terminals from here all the way over to these ones, to a number 4. And then I got a whole bunch of copper washers. Now the biggest problem I had with the other type of these boxes here, with these, is many times when you carry them like this, the parts are going from one side to the other, like the smaller parts. And I had washers all over the place, you know, so you had to dig through the stuff, and I thought, well, enough of that. So all I've got here is, this is just a larger set of cable retainers or wire retainers. And this is my small set. And of course I put some screws in here too, you know, for holding down the wires. And this would be all your heat shrink tubing. And this here is the ferrules. Now you can see on the bigger one here where you use the crimper to actually crimp on the outside. So you're putting in a say a braided wire, and you crimp it, and then when you put it into, say, something like this, it's not all frayed wires, it's solid, right? And what I like about these ones here is they're all color coded, like the, you know, for red and black, if you like, you know, and these are terrific as well. And these are just the same, except they don't have any insulation on the outside. And for the smaller wires, you can get really small wires. And if you try to use, you know, something like this, you know, to put a braided wire in there, well, you really have to use some of this, because you know what? You could solder the wire, that's a good alternative, but I find using this is great, and it's a real time saver. And this here is your crimping tool. You just put the ferrules in here with your wire, crimp it, and that's it, you're done. And so I've got my crimper here. Now, I like this size here. Now, of course, they're yellow, blue, and red, and they're matched to all your different colors of your connectors. And that's how they fit right in there. So, I mean, it doesn't make it any easier, you know, to crimp something than to actually do it like this. And, you know, it does about the best job as you could get, because this little piece in here crimps it down just to the right amount, and you're not using like a pair of pliers or side pliers or you know, any other type of crimping tool. This is the proper crimping tool, and it doesn't destroy the outside, and it crimps it properly. And of course you got to have wire cutters, and this here. Now I do have a hydraulic version of a terminal crimper. So take, for instance, like on this one here, if I were to put, like, say I wanted to crimp a cable, I would just put it in here like this and then hit it with a hammer on my vise, you know, and it will crimp it down here to hold it in. Now this is the mobile version, but I do have the hydraulic one, but But my hydraulic one, well, I tell you what, the good part is that it works fantastic, but the bad part is it won't do something as big as this. So that's why I carry this in here. And this here is just, I showed this before on my channel, and it's just a soldering iron kit. And you know, you can put the little torch on the end here for heat shrinking the wires or soldering the wires. It is just terrific, and it makes it mobile too, and that's a great thing to have in your toolbox. So this is the toolbox the way it is, and all these different compartments, you know, now are not going to intermingle with each other. Nothing's going to get spilled, and it's going to be just one of these things that you can pick up, and you got all your tools in here. You don't got to look for them. You got all your different connectors. You got everything right in front of you, and you know what you have. You're not hunting all over the place, because I'm like an organizational freak. Everything has to be organized to me. If I find that I have to hunt through 15 or 20 different boxes to find something, that is aggravating. So what do you think? Well, thanks for taking a look at of my new idea of a electrical terminal connection organizational toolbox, because, you know, it's one of them things that, well, it can get frustrating when you've got parts scattered all over your place and you're trying to, you know, do a job, and you're figuring, okay, so now I got to find this, now I got to find that. Well, now everything is all in one spot. I can just pick it up and go. And that's, in my idea, that's a far better idea than all them totes. I mean, when you take a look at, you know, all them little parts trays, man, I don't know how I survived years ago using them things, because I tell you what, every time I open it up, it was like opening up a box of chocolates. You never know what you got in there because there's parts scattered all over the place. So thanks for joining me here today. Come back again. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see some interesting things that you may not see somewhere else, just like this. Cheers.